This is the Automotive Repair Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of Speak Up Effective Communication, the show on the Automotive Repair Podcast Network focused on elevating your communication and your leadership skills. And in our episode today, I get to have our guest, our producer, Tracy Capriotto. All right. Thanks for doing this with me, Tracy.
Thanks so much, Craig, for having me on. As you know, a side note for our listeners, this podcast episode really became apparent when I started sending Craig my little mini podcast episodes, which are voice notes. And I started sending it to him and Ask Matt Fonslow. This is how we communicate. I send him mini podcasts all the time. And then Craig all of a sudden said, you know what? I think we got to get this on tape. So boom, here we are.
Yeah. So we're talking about social media detox. One of the things I did, our listeners will be aware, I deleted Facebook. I've been very much not engaged in social media. If you count LinkedIn, occasionally accepting connection requests or private messages there. I don't do a lot of posting there either. I try to, but I'm off it. I'm pretty much off it, and social media, that is, and Facebook in particular for me. And we've had a lot of good conversations, you and I, Tracy, on the impacts of that, some of what I've been experiencing. And as I talked to you around the holidays, you guys were on the cruise, the Carm cruise. I'm so sorry we couldn't join you on that. It sounded like a lot of fun.
Next time.
Yeah, I've got to convince my wife to do a cruise, but yeah, you might have to convince me too. Something about the boats and the confined spaces, it's just scary.
I'm telling you, it is not confined. It sounds confined, but it is not. It is wonderful.
Well, the excursions certainly sound wonderful. So yeah, that's worth looking at. But folks that have been considering, especially in this new year, if one of your goals is less time distracted with social media, I think this conversation is really relevant right now. And I've heard a lot of people, Tracy, with goals like this, curious about what it's been like off Facebook. Is there things you feel like you're missing out on? All these things. So we are going to discuss that today. We have a lot of things that we can go into different directions on this topic, but of course we have a word of the day on this show. I liked the word sovereignty for the word of the day today, and we will define that word for you after we hear a word from our sponsors who make this show possible. Looking to take your shop to the next level of quality service, team culture, and overall profitability? At the Institute, we provide personalized coaching that aligns with your goals of financial stability, excellent customer service, and employee satisfaction. Our priority is helping you establish significant and sustainable progress. We work with you to create strategies that reduce the stress of running your business, improve your quality and performance, and optimize your profitability. Experience the benefits of professional coaching by visiting wearetheinstitute.com/business-assessment. Hey friends, as you know, I'm a proud member of the AutoFlow team, and let me tell you, we've changed how business is done for auto shops everywhere. We support your client experience before, during, and after the work is done. Imagine this: timely updates sent directly to your clients, branded digital vehicle inspections, and seamless communication from start to finish. That's why shops love AutoFlow. And hey, with those 5-star reviews rolling in, you'll wonder how you ever managed without us. Take an important next step and take your auto shop to the next level. Visit www.autoflow.com. Get on board with an AutoFlow trial. Want to see your auto repair shop thrive? Are you looking to drive more customers to your auto repair shop? Let ShopDog Marketing be your guide. Our customer-first approach, combined with AI-driven creative content, ensures top rankings. Dominate mobile first and voice search with our specialized expertise. Reach out to ShopDog Marketing today and start growing your business. Don't miss out on this chance to boost your business. Visit shopdogmarketing.com. Inbound has exclusively served independent auto repair shops with expert communication solutions for years. Our robust VoIP platform ensures you stay connected while our industry-leading AI analytics take your business to the next level. We provide the tools you need to understand your customers and optimize every interaction. Choose Inbound for proven expertise and unmatched innovation. Visit callinbound.com and discover the difference we can make. All right, we're back. And the word of the day is sovereignty. That is a noun, folks. And its definition is complete authority and control over your own domain. And I like this because in the context of our attention and our focus, some sovereignty over our attention. Again, I feel like for me, that was the goal of deleting Facebook and some of those distractions to reclaim what is most sacred to me, my attention. And Tracy, I think that was starting to resonate with you as you were taking not even a deliberate break, really, was it on the cruise? It was just sort of, it happened and then you just didn't fall back into the habit afterwards, right?
Getting off social media or having some sort of detox has been on my mind for a few years. And when you had mentioned it last year, I became so jealous. Like, Craig, how is he doing? He must be doing just so great. And so that that started the little bit of, okay, the seed is planted and I knew I wanted to do it. I'm sure a lot of us know social media, the detriments of it, how much it sucks your time, but how do you actually extract yourself from that? And really the first thing is having awareness. So I knew that's something I wanted to do with the Carm cruise. I decided I'm not going to have the internet package because the
Perfect.
cruise actually had a messaging app on it. So you could
Okay.
message other guests. So I said, I don't need it. And I actually want to take the time to not be on the internet. And that kind of came with a few times I thought maybe I should have it because I should be posting about us being on the cruise and doing pictures. But I took that 4 days of not having the internet as this is my time. And then what was so interesting is after the cruise, once we got back on dry land, I kind of had a little game with myself. How long could I keep this up? Maybe I should pretend that I don't have an internet package still. And so that was really difficult because now, you get cell phone service and I had over 100 texts. I have all these notifications, all these
Bing,
emails.
bing, bing. Yep.
But I said, you know what? I'm going to really try to start this path that I really wanted to. And the Carm cruise is really a catalyst. So I kind of continued that. And I don't know if not having the Carm cruise, I would have really gotten there. I think that really changed things for me because having that time away, the forceful time away, really helped me realize this is good for me. This is good for my mental health. And I need to keep this up.
Yeah. Oh, it reminds me, like when my wife and I, we did a camping trip in the North Manitou Island here in Michigan, or South Manitou Island. And we had just 3 days there. And that I always talk about that 3-day effect and everything. And on a 4-day cruise on a business trip, one of the things you mentioned in your thing, you really never got that effect because it is a work trip at the end of the day for you. But you said something I thought was very interesting right here. That pressure to, like, you felt like you should be posting about things, especially since, it's a work trip. It's the Carm cruise. You're the podcast people and you should be promoting and pushing and publicizing and all the things. But without the internet access, did that pressure, that feeling like you should be doing that, did that go away ever on the trip, really?
It kind of ebbed and flow where I thought maybe I should be posting it. No, these 4 days. And I've also felt that at conferences where I have moments where I just want to hang out with my friends. I really just want to enjoy the time. But then there's the other half of me that I need to get everyone in for a group picture and we should be doing a selfie and we should be doing reels and little videos. So I'm always caught between that. And that's something I have been trying to balance. But what I realized was that's something that I'm creating that narrative in my own head. No one is out there. Well, why didn't Tracy post a picture? Like, what is going on? No one's thinking that. We just are thinking that.
Go. Yes, exactly. Oh, so this is one of the things that for me was the hardest part at first after deleting Facebook is there was still this, I did this notion in the back of my head when I'm doing an activity or a thing, like, oh, I should grab a picture of this and then post it. There's like this strange phantom pressure that occurs. And for the shop owners or service advisor, anyone listening who's responsible for promoting a brand or an organization or a business, to not be doing that feels like a wrongness in this world today. Like that pressure is all encompassing. And you said, how jealous of me for doing that. I can, because we have a marketing team at AutoFlow, right? And they do the marketing. I don't have to be the guy out there posting on things, and I can support those efforts from behind the scenes as well. Not everybody has that, and I'm aware of that. But I would say to the shop owners or anyone listening to this that wants to pull back from social media, like, the amount of attention and time, you could probably hire somebody that handles that stuff for you if you haven't already, and then support those things from behind the scenes. You don't necessarily have to be that participant there. Oh man. So Tracy, that continued after the trip though. No internet. Yeah, you didn't unplug the router when you got home or anything like that. You're getting all the notifications. Did it feel kind of scuzzy having to engage in that again?
It did. We're millennials. I
Mhm.
crave that time we used to have growing up where
Yeah.
we didn't have the emails, we didn't have the Snapchat, we didn't have the notifications, and so that is something that it's so ingrained in me of needing to extract myself, but how do I get there?
Mhm. Yeah, and one of the things that you were talking about is like you're realizing this stuff, and as you become more awake to your attention
Yes.
being affected by this, but you also recognize the good and the potential positive interactions that you can have in those social medias. Your angle seems to be more not like cutting cold turkey, but balance.
Yes, is having that balance because like you said, I still am using social media for work.
Mhm.
I am the marketing team, so that relies, on me and Carm solely. So I knew I'm not going to be able to completely cut that cold turkey. I
Yeah.
still need to be having a presence on social media for our company, but how can
Mm.
I manage my focus better? How can I manage my attention better? How can I plan out better marketing so it doesn't seem like a daily grinding task?
Yeah.
And so that's what I realized at first. I really did want to do the Craig O'Neill. We're deactivating, baby. We're doing this. But I realized for my job, I'm not going to be able to.
Mhm.
So, how can I balance this and still stay on my path of lowering my social media?
Yeah, well, intentionality is a key piece of this
Yes.
sort of thing, and that's straight from your talking points on this too. Is you've realized that like elimination is one thing, but using it with intentional purpose is
Right.
the other. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to delete it. Is like it became a habit to just oh, boop, like I
Yes.
finished a meeting and quick, just like a distractive, like something I would go do immediately after
Hmm.
accomplishing a task is I was typing in FB and there it is, and like quick start scrolling through. So then I'm asking myself, what the heck am I doing? What am I looking for?
I realized that it was my kind of habit of time filler, whether
Yeah.
it's waiting in line at the grocery store, whether,
Mm,
you're in between a meeting, whether you're just on the couch and just trying to relax before you go to bed, just catching up all of a sudden in the
oof,
morning, waking up and just taking a look kind of like, oh, this is
yep.
my new, news feed.
Mhm.
And it was becoming such a habit, that scrolling part, but then I also knew, like, this is not truly making me happy.
Mhm.
I can watch funny videos about puppies and kittens, and that's great, but how is this actually helping me? And how is this helping my attention?
Yeah.
How is it helping my focus? And it's kind of like that white noise. You're sucked into that white noise, every notification, and trying to be able to calm that down is
Mhm.
very difficult.
Yeah, well, it's engineered to do this sort of stuff. It's you've coined on to this too, the overstimulation effects that this is having, and that it does. It makes it harder to
Yes.
concentrate. And I've raised kids now in this world, and they didn't get smartphones or access to this stuff until about the middle teenage years,
Mhm.
really. And my son is just really at 20 now. He's becoming more and more awake to this fact. Like, yeah, this is frying our brains. And the realization that like you used to read books and now there's this that's pulling you away from that. It's pulling us away from other things that require a deeper focus. Carm had that book, Stolen Focus, Johan Hari, author, fantastic read for those that are considering this. Stolen Focus. Oof. It'll make you convinced the fact that this is engineered against us. And so for
Mm.
me, deleting was actually just more of a sort of a protest against that engineering model that was actually there to hijack my attention. And maybe I'll trickle back in someday with new intentionality. But right now, I'm still enjoying this space and I've started to realize things. So I'm curious for you, Tracy, when you've been on even a diet, even with intentional thing, have you noticed that you are able to concentrate better or feel less pressure and distraction now?
I definitely do. Now that I'm, a month or so in, I can feel my nervous system changing
Mm,
because it's not searching. And it's very easy to get stuck in that dopamine hit because it's
mhm,
never ending. And something I really dove into is learning more about closed systems and open systems and
mm,
why it has such an effect on your mental state. So, an open system would be something that's never ending, an endless scroll.
mm.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, even emails.
Yeah.
And once you're in that kind of pattern, there's not really an end in sight. And for your brain, it just wants more and more rather than like a closed system, a book, like you were saying, Kindle, a book,
Yep.
something that has a finality to it. And it's not videos popping and bright lights and all these different cuts. It's just different for your brain. And our brains were not meant to be connected to the internet 24/7 and to
Correct.
watch TikTok reels and Instagram and any of that. But it's a great source of, oh, I really like this. I think it's funny. And
Mm.
companies around the world are paying millions and billions of dollars to grab your attention. It's
Mhm.
all algorithms. It's all, a
Yeah.
specific recipe, and we're falling for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Then it's just a habit, and that's what it is. And that's the thing for me too. I noticed this when I deleted Facebook, that habit of quick dipping onto a web page to go look for another distraction did
Yes.
not disappear at all. Like all of a sudden I'm popping onto a news website or something. That was my next thing to defeat, by the way. Like once I was off social media, instead of scrolling news sites, and there's been plenty of it in the last year and a half. But to try to stop doing that as well and just not even pick up the device to do that. And that's the harder discipline
Yes.
that to defeat. Did you have another fallback that you
Oh,
went to?
yeah. Oh, yeah, it's called, I don't know if you've heard of Amazon shopping cart, but that makes sense because of any habit, when you
Mm,
cut it cold turkey, you gotta find something else
yeah.
because you're gonna still revert. So I realized, oh
Yeah.
my, Amazon is becoming my new, like, shopping habit,
Oh
but
boy.
and then it was, I really need to have a plan. What is going to be my plan? Because in order for this to stick, I need to get myself in a place where it's gonna be harder for me to look at social media.
Nice.
And also, what am I gonna use my time instead
Oh, yeah.
intentionally?
Yeah, it's not what you're not doing, it's what you're doing instead of the thing, and this is
Yes.
people who have struggled with addictions, I know that that's a reality, people who have quit smoking, now they chew gum,
Right.
and those sort of things, like, having something else to do instead of the thing seems to be something that helps. For me, walking and rucking and those sort of things, and sometimes no music or any of these other things, like, just to regain just boredom, I guess.
Well, boredom is a lost skill,
Yeah.
especially with children. I mean, we see it at restaurants, a whole family will be sitting there and
Mm,
each kid is on their own iPad and that's what they're doing. Or, we're taking a car ride to the grocery store. Do you have your iPad?
mm,
So, boredom is becoming a lost art and companies are making that. So,
mm.
but like you said, and you had actually mentioned to me, going on a walk, but not listening to a podcast, not listening to music, try doing that. And I thought, oh, because my habit would be put in the AirPods and let me catch up on something. But
Yeah.
being able to lower your stimulation level is critical, and not having constantly something in your ear, something that you're
Yes.
constantly turning your attention to. So I am trying to be more intentional with lower stimulation, especially in the morning and at night. That is really important for me, and I've noticed a huge difference. In the morning, my non-negotiable is do not look at social media in the morning. Don't look at it at all. And I found myself being able to start my morning a lot better because I'm able to concentrate a little bit more, focus more on my day than having a bombarded, pictures and videos of my friends
Mm,
and seeing what they're doing. So
mhm.
that has helped me start my day. And then for sleeping, especially, I'm a terrible sleeper through and through. I've
Mm,
always been my whole life. Now that I've kind of eliminated social media before bedtime and now I'm choosing to read instead,
mm.
that has been extremely helpful because I'm not concentrating on 60 different pictures I've just seen, or
Yeah.
oh, I just saw someone got engaged or someone's going on a crazy trip. It's more focused on what am I trying to learn? What am I focusing on? And removing the distractions of bright lights and baubles.
Nice. Yeah, that those sort of rules I think are really that's where the goal should be, is trying to create that balance. I think some of the takeaways I would encourage our listeners to do is think about that. Like, yeah, there's the cold turkey type approach, but even just setting some basic boundaries that you
Mhm.
can truly start doing right away. That's a simpler move and it still keeps you engaged in the space if it's important for your work. I know that that's the case for a lot of things. So the progress on this sort of thing, Tracy, you've noticed this now. I
Mhm.
feel like the same way I have too. There is not immediate always results on this sort of thing. For me, I think I'm just starting to realize some elements of progress for myself. I'm picking up my books with greater regularity, especially in the morning hours, because I was guilty of this too. I hop on the phone, I'm looking at the emails, and next thing you know, I'm reading newsletters, and that leads me to news, and that leads to these other things. I like sitting with a book for a little while as I wake up with my coffee, and I start my day. I feel these days truly a greater capacity to focus on the people that I'm with. And that's true in interpersonal communications throughout the holidays, during this nice, wonderful break we had recently for Christmas and New Year's. My kids are home on break, and I'm not picking up my phone worried about what my friends across the country are up to or they're posting. It didn't even cross my mind to wonder, except for a few family members who will text, right? That's still there. It's almost like social media when you start to look at that. But it was really good to be present, and I didn't feel the compunction anymore to pull the camera out and take a picture for everything to send to so-and-so and who so and show everyone what great time we're having here. I just experienced the moment. And I hope you've had more of those sort of things too, where you're just in that moment.
Yes, I have also completely removed my Apple Watch from my wrist. So
Yes.
that also was a kind of a cruise catalyst of like, I don't have internet, so I don't need my watch. And then when I got back, I just never put it on. And I have found myself being so much more centered. It's not like, a notification of an email. I'm not a doctor where I have to go save a child's heart, in the hospital. I got to go. It's not like that level, but, an email, a text, something that, you just look, you don't realize that when you take your focus away for 1 second to something else, how harder it is to get back to where you are. It's kind of like sitting on like a hot seat where it's like ding, ding, ding. And now that I've removed my smartwatch, like I actually really enjoy going through my day where if I'm choosing to pick up my cell phone, I will choose to see, do I have a message or did I get an email? I also keep my phone on silent too.
Yes. So, oh man, I talked on several of my episodes about notifications. Like one of the things I teach when I'm working with shops on digital platforms in my day-to-day work, like technicians, like what if something changed during the schedule and we need to notify them? Should we have the device ding, beep, whistle, something they wear on their body that vibrates? That was a thing for a little bit for some people. My answer is no. It causes the technician to stop focusing on what they're doing, which is probably a very critical nut, bolt, or screw. And a mistake may happen, and I don't want them to go to their device. I want, when it beeps or whistles, I want them to go to it when it's an appropriate time to go to it.
Exactly.
And that sounds like what you're realizing too, is like, we still have a habit of picking up the doggone things and checking them. Just do that at an interval at your choosing.
Right.
And be okay that it doesn't need your immediate attention every time it beeps.
Being more present, I'm making better decisions overall.
Yes. So
And
good.
so I knew, I wanted to get off social media. I also knew I really want to get into goals for this year, which I know it's January. We're all in that goals of got to go to the gym and have goals. And I have tried multiple times in my life to start doing goals like we all have. And I've looked at this from a different lens where, you know what, the times I started and didn't do it, that's not a failure. I just haven't found the way that sticks with me. And maybe I haven't been in a place where I'm fully ready to be invested in my goals. So that's something where I'm filling my time with is how can I plan out my year and have more pen to paper than typing on a screen. So I actually did in the mail yesterday, I have a new journal. It's kind of a planner journal and goal planner. And what's different about this compared to what I've had before is it's more fill in the blank. It has a lot more prompts of what was your win? What are you working on next? And so I think that might help me kind of jumpstart more ideas and inspiration than having a blank sheet of paper that seems overwhelming. Like, oh, number one. And I also got pretty pens too, because I think that might make
Nice. That's motivating. Yeah, it was nice things there to go with the goal. That's interesting. Yeah, a lot of times we feel failure if we set a rigid goal and we miss a thing. Like I've had a very, very busy week. Didn't hit the gym once. It's a major component of one of my goals. I didn't even get out to ruck this week. It's been that busy. It's been insane. I'm doing too much. I know I am. and that's without social media, right? So, oh my gosh. But one of the things I stopped doing last year, kind of related to the watch issue. It's like, for me, like the ruck didn't count unless I was tracking it in a fitness app.
Oh.
I actually stopped tracking my
Mhm.
rucks just to do the walk, just to be out there for the purpose of being out there, not to have it be a log of a mile and a proof of an activity. And once that went away, a couple of things happened for me. When I missed a day, I missed more days than I would have liked last year too. It was not as good as my 2020 for your daily deal, but I didn't feel as bad about it.
Mhm.
But then when I was back out again, I was back out for the reason of being out, not for the reason of just ticking a box, which allowed me to enjoy those outings far better than I had before, and listening to birds instead of caring about the paces for that
Right.
matter. I mean, all of those things start to come in. And I think that kind of fits with what you're saying. Like when you give yourself a little bit more freedom,
Mhm.
that's what it's actually about, is creating some space. And that's the thing. Ultimately, I feel like the best thing I've accomplished by not being on social media is I have created more space to just be where I need to be.
I bet for rucking, you might have needed that tracking to start.
To
And
start.
then right.
Yes. Spot on,
You
Tracy.
need to
It's
measure that.
exactly it. And it was helpful, especially for that. It was almost like gamification,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And you see the consistent progress. And it was cool to see the pace improvements over a period of time and all of that sort of stuff. But then you hit that point where the improvements aren't there. Now you're just doing the thing because
Yeah.
you do the thing and your body does the thing. And you don't need it anymore, and you can graduate away from it again. And so, yeah, using stuff like that for the good that it can do, and then recognizing when it's done for you,
Mhm.
what it needs to do. And maybe you don't need that thing anymore.
I did have a relapse, so I have to come clean. I had a social media relapse. So, this is not me saying I am so perfect. I did this
Mm-mm.
and I've
It's
never looked
hard.
at social media. I had a relapse and I also did not look at that as a failure. Instead, I looked at it as, why is this happening? So
Good.
before Christmas, I got pneumonia and it
Uh,
definitely brought me down. I was in bed and that kind of, I don't feel good. I
mhm,
can't get out of bed. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. So the
mm,
phone did go out and I'm starting to scroll. And then I noticed in the mornings I was
mm,
doing that. And then I finally realized, okay, this happened.
hmm,
It's okay. With any growth, it can't always be perfectly linear. Why is this happening? Well, I was in bed and I didn't feel good, but also I didn't have the things in place to move on from social media with. I didn't
mm,
have the, how am I going to focus my time somewhere else? So I must have been a good girl because I did get a Kindle for Christmas. And that has been huge because I don't know if myself I would have thought, you know what, I'm going to buy a Kindle. I already had the app on my phone that I would use periodically.
mhm.
So I was thinking I'm just going to
Yeah.
keep with that. But I will say having the Kindle was what I needed to be able to go to a doctor's appointment and I'm in the waiting room and I'm looking at my book. I'm reading the book instead of scrolling on social
Correct.
media, super mad that the internet connection is terrible and it's draining my battery. I don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I realized I need to put better things in place to make sure that I'm not going to revert back. I also moved my social media apps to the third screen on my cell phone.
There you
That
go.
way, it's not as easy. I could open my cell phone before, eyes closed, and know where every icon was. I completely moved everything. I restructured my phone to kind of, okay, I'm
Yeah.
not going to have social media apps on this
Kind of
page. Move it,
frustrates the
move it,
muscle
move it.
memory, right?
Yes. And that way, when I open my phone, the homepage doesn't have Facebook right there with the red notification. You have 4 notifications. So that definitely helped, is
Yeah.
adding that friction
Yeah.
of how can I make this harder for myself for behaviors I don't want? And then also how can I eliminate friction for the behaviors I do want? I do want to read. So
Mhm.
how should I start?
Yeah, Tracy, that's really good. And even in the book Stolen Focus, like they mentioned this, like although these things are engineered to capture our attention, there are engineered features that allow you to have some mechanism of control and reduce that pull. People don't engage them.
No, no.
Yeah.
It's crazy we live in a world that we have app blockers. Like, that's the whole thing, is an app blocker, but
Yeah. No, that's interesting. No, I really like this chat, Tracy, and to have you be able to articulate what you've been feeling as you go through this journey. I hope it's helpful to anyone out there that's considering this stuff. And I'm really thankful that you take it from a full transparency thing. Like, there isn't some perfection that you need to achieve in this stuff. I'm not perfect either. I've caught myself doing the same scrolling habit on LinkedIn. Fortunately, people at least do mostly professional things
Mostly.
on LinkedIn. Yeah, let's keep it professional somewhere, folks, right? But I got to say, I do miss seeing the activities of so many of our friends around the country. But I'm going to say this. I'm more excited about seeing people again at some of the conferences again to catch up deliberately. And we won't have the context of the Facebook experience. No one's going to know what I've been up to. They'll have to ask, or I'll have to ask them the same. And those are fun conversations. We have more to talk about now when we see each other. And I think that's great.
Yeah, it's the in person. We need to get back to being in person with each other, communicating in person. Emails, texts, everything can get so convoluted. The tone of a text, how are you supposed to read that? So it's really being more present with the people that matter most. I don't need to see some influencer in California making a smoothie. I really don't. I've really focused on bringing this back to who are the key people in my life that I'm updating because I call them on the phone.
With deliberate intention. What
Yes.
that strengthens core relationships, right? I'm sorry, I can't have a good relationship with 1,000 friends
Right.
on a social media platform. It isn't actually a relationship, in
Right.
my opinion.
Mm-mm.
Yep, and that's beautiful. Yeah, strengthen those core friendships. Call someone. Scott Werner on our marketing team here at AutoFlow. He's wonderful about that, and he's started to do that deliberately thing instead of just texting or doing the Facebook happy birthday type thing. Call them up, right? What a throwback idea, isn't it?
Well, if you don't mention it on Facebook, does it really count? That's the world
I
we're living
know.
in.
I know. Well, shoot, Tracy, any final reflections that you want to share?
My final reflections are develop an awareness. What are you trying to eliminate or cut down? I think having that awareness of these are things that I really want to focus on. And it might be social media, it might be diet and exercise, whatever it is, write it down and focus on that.
Hmm.
And then you have to have a game plan because if you think just cutting something cold turkey is going to work for you, it will not. Even when it comes to going to the gym, you have to start with baby steps. Have a plan in place. Also, forgive yourself because there may be times you slip up, and that is totally normal. If you're the type of person that if you're losing at a game or making a mistake, that's it. I'm terrible. I can't do this. You're going to have a really hard time in life. So
Mhm.
have the grace for yourself and focus on, okay, what can I do instead? And that's the big part is how will I fill my time? How will I
Mhm.
focus it? What are the goals that I really want to achieve, but I haven't gotten there yet? So it's nice to have a plan in place in order to keep it sticking
Huh.
and also have the people around you kind of clued in as well. I was telling my friends, I am really trying to have a social media detox. So if it takes me a couple
So
days to
smart.
get back,
So smart. Setting that expectations with your network like that, so smart. Yeah, I didn't tell anyone. I just left.
did the Irish goodbye.
It was the Irish goodbye.
There are times
Uh,
I think of you because I'll see something, "Oh, Craig doesn't have Facebook. Maybe I should just email this to him so he
yeah.
can see it."
Yeah. Well, I started as a discipline of just not going onto Facebook, and then I realized I haven't really gone on there for so long. I'm just going to delete it.
Well,
So,
it's
yeah.
it's 1:20 PM, and I have not been on Facebook.
Nice. Well,
Nothing
hey,
bad has happened so far today. It's
see, at
great.
least in our awareness.
Yes.
What a tragedy sometimes too, because like all the positive things it does, it's not fun to miss out on that. But I tell you, when you're not tuned into all the sad, angry things, there's
Mhm.
less chance of people trying to make you angry. And I don't miss that at all. It was one of the core drivers that was pushing me away anyways. Hey, what do you know? I have more attention and more space now in my local community.
Mhm.
There's some cool things I'm working on that I'll be eager to share as time goes on. And Tracy, you have a cool thing coming up in early March, a vision this year. You and
I have
Sarah are teaching a class.
Yes, it'll be my first time teaching at Vision. I'm
Awesome.
so excited for that. So and that is something I have been planning out is my next 4 months without social media, I want to dial this in. So at the end
Heck
of
yeah.
January, I'm actually going to a public speaking workshop that
Awesome.
Darren Barney nominated me for.
Hey,
So I'm so
he's
excited to
big
go
into
to
the
that.
communication. Good.
And then Sarah and I have Women in Auto Care. So we'll be going to that 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Then after that, I think I'm going to Atlanta for Napa Auto Care. And then Vision will be
Yeah.
my first time
And
speaking
the class
at
is?
Vision. So our class is From Awkward to Authentic,
Nice.
Rethinking Networking. So it's not your run of the mill. We're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about KPIs. No, we're talking about what it's like to go to an event. You don't know anyone, you're shy, you're not sure how to talk to someone next to you in class. How do you build a network? You know you need to. We're going to talk about how to be authentic, how to communicate, and also make those connections that are going to last in
Yeah.
your career. So I'm really excited to teach that with Sarah. We're building the class from ground up. So we're really adding just our experiences individually and our experiences also together. And then at the end of March, I am giving my first keynote ever.
That's right.
TST with Jerry Trulia. He has a one-day event in New York, TST seminars,
Yeah.
the big event.
big event.
And he asked me to be a keynote speaker. And so I'm giving my first keynote ever. I'm very, very excited about that. And I'm pumped and jazzed that I now, like you said, have more space. I have more bandwidth. I have more focus, because when you're so locked into those videos and all the funny things and all the, sarcastic, innuendos. I love those. I love those videos.
Funny gifts.
But then what happens is then your, day-to-day life can seem mundane. It can seem boring. Oh, I have to, have something on PowerPoint. I have to do something on Excel. This is boring. I want to watch a video instead. So now that I've kind of removed myself from that, I'm very excited to focus more on what I want to accomplish and not have that constant, I need to post, I need to check, I really need to like that person's status so they know that I'm cheering them on. I've kind of come away from that, and I'm very happy with the place that I am at.
Isn't that great? And one of my favorite things too, especially being in front of a room with people or in the room just with people sitting in the chairs, is you realize like there's a lot of people in there that weren't in my social media circle anyways.
Right.
And that's the world out there. It is so much bigger than all of that. Everyone gets in their bubbles. The bubble's bigger than you realize. And you'll start to engage other parts of it when you're not too engaged on the screen. Yeah.
100%.
I love it. Tracy, that's an exciting first part of the year. That's like first quarter. Like, wow.
I know. That's a lot. Yeah.
It is.
That's why I'm like very excited to plan this in December. I kind of thought this is the right time for me to really engage in what I want to do and eliminate the distractions I don't want anymore.
Nice. Oh, that's so good. I hope that's encouraging for our listeners too, to try something similar. And I think that, hey, you have two approaches here. You have the cold turkey approach. I'm a huge fan. and you have a good, responsible diet. I mean, literally, Tracy, you've done the harder work, truly, of just redefining your relationship with these tools.
Right.
And that's to be commended. So good job. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate all that you're doing with your podcast. I love listening to your episodes week after week. You are really nailing the importance of human-to-human communication, perspective, inferences. I love it. So thank you so much for being a part of our network. Thank you for being a mentor and a friend to me, because I am not sure I would have been able to speak at the Women in Auto Care Women of Excellence award speech without you and Chris Cloutier being mentors silently. You may have not have known that. And also with you starting the whole social media detox, that stuck with me. And I thought about it so much. And we had conversations at conferences. How is it going, Craig? How is it? Are you doing okay? And so I'm very thankful that I have someone like you in my life that is going through something similar, that we can talk about social media detoxing, and that is, encouraging. So you have encouraged me without you even knowing it. And I'm really happy that you invited me on and decided, you know what, this is probably a topic people want to hear about.
I really appreciate that, Tracy. I need the encouragement too sometimes. We put a lot out there all the time, and it's so great to hear from people. And so if that's been the story for you, don't be shy. Reach out to us here on the show. I would love to. Reach out at speakup@craigoneil.net. And by all means, reach out and find out where we're going to be next. You've heard some of the events Tracy's going to be at too. Don't be shy. It may seem awkward to approach people at a networking event. It's a little bit easier to ask that friend request on a social media platform. Go up, shake some hands, folks. Some cool people out there. Thanks for being one of them, Tracy. It's been such a great joy to be able to talk about something I'm passionate about here on this platform. And there is one app that is absolutely worth putting on your phone. There's the Automotive Repair Podcast Network's app. Go on the Apple Store or the Google Play and find the Automotive Repair Podcast app. And that is going to allow you some focused episodic learning from all of the shows here on the channel. Don't forget to listen up to Remarkable Results with Carm Capriotto. And then, of course, Diagnosing the Aftermarket A through Z with Matt Fonzo. He's gotten very good with his letters. And Better with Numbers is, of course, Hunt Demarest Business by the Numbers. And we have the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast with Brian and Kim Walker, and the Weekly Blitz with Coach Chris Cotton. And oh my goodness, thank you so much to the Institute, AutoFlow, Inbound, Shopdog Marketing for being sponsors of this show that makes this possible for us to produce and perform and bring you this content, which we hope is just enormously valuable. Thanks so much for joining me today, Tracy.
Thanks, Craig. And yes, we will allow that app as the only app you have on your phone. It is our free podcast app. So speaking about distractions, you're not going to have commercial pop-ups where you can go listen to this and that and that. It is distraction free. It is solely for episodic education, just our in-house network hosts. So definitely take a look at that. You can watch videos and play the audio.
It's so much nicer when I listen to like an episode by Hunt or one of those guys, and it doesn't just go into the next library on my Spotify and all of a sudden there's a soundtrack that I wasn't quite ready for. It'll just roll into another one of the episodes I have queued up. And Tracy, I'm noticing a mug behind you now in the studio where you're at of the new logo.
There it is. Yes.
I got to get one of these mugs.
All right. We'll send you a mug to Michigan. No problem.
That'll be good. Thank you so much, folks. Again, thank you for listening. Get out there, listen up, speak up, and maybe disconnect for a minute. I don't know.
Thanks, Craig.
Thanks.
You've been listening to Speak Up, Effective Communication with Craig O'Neill on the Automotive Repair Podcast Network. Download our exclusive podcast app at automotiverepairpodcastnetwork.com because the best conversations in the industry start here. Check the show notes for Craig's YouTube channel and email. Let him know what topics you'd like him to speak up about.
Yeah.